Once upon a time there was a ship called Mrs. Orangeleaf. She was painted grey, and on her side there was a number. So when she passed other ships in the sea, they would know who she was and say, "Good day, Mrs. Orangeleaf." And here's one of her many adventures.
Once upon a time, there was a ship called Mrs. Orangeleaf. She was painted grey and on her side was a number, so when she passed other ships in the sea, they would know who she was and say, "Good day, Mrs. Orangeleaf." Mrs. Orangeleaf used to carry fuel and water to give to other ships belonging to the Queen of the United Kingdom, known as Royal Navy ships. They too were painted grey. At present, Mrs. Orangeleaf was in England. While she was docked at Portsmouth, she could see all the crew and the dock workers load in lots of food, extra warm blankets and duvets. They sailed off from England. She would call at a few islands. One was called the Falklands and the other a small island called South Georgia. Mrs. Orangeleaf had heard of these islands and remembered there was lots of snow and huge icebergs there. Her job was to replace the ship called Mr. Gold Rover.
It's getting cold. We need to wear warm sweaters and jackets, my friend.
It's all right, it's cold.
I will show the crew I'm not worried about the cold weather. I'll show them how brave I am.
There are lots of penguins, seals, snow and icebergs around here. I wish I was somewhere warmer.
I have to admit, I never knew what seals and penguins were, so I'm a little excited to know all about them.
Meanwhile, down near the South Pole, Mr. Gold Rover was getting ready to go on his holiday. He had a secret and had not told Mrs. Orangeleaf about Peter the Penguin, nor Humphrey the Seal. He thought he would surprise her. Peter the Penguin was a very inquisitive penguin, and he liked to know all that was going on, and if there was any new gossip. Humphrey the Seal loved to hear new things too, but best of all, he loved playing with Peter, his friend in the sea.
Do not play in the old building on the island. Them old abandoned whaling stations are old and dangerous.
Get out of that building. I'll tell your mothers what you've been up to.
Mr. Slider makes a rude noise that Peter and Humphrey thought was funny. Now Peter and Humphrey looked forward to Mr. Gold Rover coming to their island, as he would fetch lots of food, letters and other things.
Hello, my friends. It's good to see you again. Shall we have our race to the dock as usual?
Hooray, Mr. Gold Rover. Good to see you. Let us get our breath. Then we will race you back and see who will be first this time.
Captain Trevor, who looked after Mr. Gold Rover with the rest of the crew, he saw Peter and Humphrey and he knew they were going to have some fun with them.
Increase the speed and let us see if we can come first this time and beat Humphrey the Seal.
Aye, aye, Captain. Well, come on, Mr. Gold Rover. Let's get you speed up, as Captain Trevor says, and have some fun. We will win them in a race this time.
Keep on the same course, Mr. Mate.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Get ready, get steady, wait for it, go!
Mr. Gold Rover was getting excited. With a big blow-off, he went. He couldn't see Peter nor Humphrey, so he thought he must be in the lead. Meanwhile, Mrs. Orangeleaf was sailing along quite happily, but still wondered when she would see these strange animals.
Come on, Mr. Mate, increase our speed a little more, as this is our last tour being here. Let's help Mr. Gold Rover win this race against Peter the Penguin and Humphrey the Seal.
I'm sure I can see the penguin and seal on the port side of the ship.
Carry on the same course, Mr. Mate.
Aye, aye, sir, Captain. Sir, I can see Humphrey the Seal in the distance.
Very well, just keep looking for that little penguin, Mr. Mate.
We could see Humphrey and Peter on the port side of the ship.
Carry on the same course, Mr. Mate. We are doing very well.
Aye, aye, Captain.
The captain was now looking with his special glasses out to sea.
Well, gentlemen, it looks like Peter the Penguin is now catching up to Humphrey the Seal. He's doing very well for a small penguin.
The garrison commander was the head of the islands. It was his job to decide who the winner was going to be. Then everyone looked up in the sky as they heard a different noise. They saw it was Walker, the Chinook helicopter. He had come to visit Mr. Gold Rover as he needed fuel. Walker had heard about these races from the pilot.
The three of them are neck and neck. It's going to be hard to see who the winner's going to be.
Peter was starting to get out of puff, but he was still swimming as hard as he could.
I can see Walker. I think he wants to land.
Don't worry, the captain knows. He is there, and Walker has said he could wait until the race is finished.
Joff, we're only 2 kilometres away from the quayside.
Now, Woody. Calm down. The captain knows what he is doing.
Mr. Mate, go even faster.
Mr. Gold Rover saw the flag held up by the garrison commander, and poor Mr. Gold Rover, he would not be able to stop in time.
Stop all engines.
We won, we won.
Hooray, hooray, we won, we won. Well done, Mr. Grey Rover, well done. Today's winner, I am pleased to confirm, is Mr. Gold Rover. 3 cheers for him and his crew. Walker now ready to land on Mr. Gold Rover.
Thank you, Choff. Now we have finished the race, Walker may have his fuel.
Aye, aye, Captain. I will radio Walker to land immediately.
Humphrey and Peter went ashore, and both were puffing and panting after trying hard to win the race.
Look, Humphrey, the people are putting tables together for the party. There's pretty tablecloths on them.
Yes, I can see them. And look, Peter, they are filling the tables with lots of lovely food.
I wonder if the people are going to put food out for us.
Peter looked all around him. Then he saw a much smaller table laid out with various fish.
Can you see it, Peter? The smell is wonderful.
Peter started to waddle over to the small table. He could now see various fish.
Oh, it looks so pretty and smells delicious. Come on, Humphrey. Move it before the birds fly down and get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to announce that Mr. Gold Rover is the winner of this race, especially as it's a sad day too. Mr. Gold Rover is leaving us today for a different place in the sea, and now call upon Captain Trevor so I can present his trophy and a plaque, which is a shield to our island and to be hung up in the ship.
Thank you all very much. We will treasure these gifts. I would also like to thank Peter the Penguin and Humphrey the Seal for such a tremendous race. They are both very courageous animals.
Soon it was time for the captain and all his crew to get on board Mr. Gold Rover as they were going back to the United Kingdom for a well-earned holiday.
Okay, Mr. Mate, let's start up the engines and set sail.
Aye, aye, Captain, sir.
Peter and Humphrey jumped into the sea. They wanted to swim by the side of their friend Mr. Gold Rover. They were very sad he was leaving.
Goodbye, Mr. Gold Rover. We're going to miss you very much.
Then, to their surprise, they saw a big fat tear rolling down from Mr. Gold Rover's eye.
Don't cry, Mr. Gold Rover, or you'll have me and Peter crying too.
Friends, I will never forget you both. We had lots of fun together, didn't we?
Look after yourself and have a wonderful holiday.
Mr. Gold Rover sailed away into the deep blue sea. He thought to himself he would visit a place on his way home. He knew it would be warm seas there. Mr. Nav and Woody were looking out the bridge window when Woody said,
Look, Mr. Navs, there are air blows on the starboard side.
Who is it, Woody?
Sir, it's Taffy the whale.
Peter and Humphrey were still swimming around in the sea, and they too could see Taffy the whale. They were bobbing over the waves.
Get away from me. The sea will be dangerous for you.
Then the captain gave an order over the loudspeaker that a ship was stuck in the ice and couldn't get free, and they had to assist her.
Come on, we must go as fast as we can. Let's have full speed.
Another message came over the radio that Mrs. Orangeleaf would be there to help too. Mr. Gold Rover was pleased to hear this.
Walker, could you please take off and see which ship it is and how badly the ship is stuck in the ice?
Yes, Captain. It will be an honour to help you.
Sir, you'll never believe this. The ship that's got stuck is the liner Queen Elizabeth.
Then, just in their sight, who could they see coming towards them? It was Mrs. Orangeleaf.
Captain, you need to get in touch with Tilly the Tornado, as we need her help too. This is a big job as Elizabeth is stuck fast.
They telephoned the commander of the island and he informed them to tell the liner to come into the island and they would have a warm welcome.
Let us go back to the island and tell all our family that the liner is stuck.
The weather conditions were getting worse and Captain Trevor was talking to Captain Stephen to see how far away Mrs. Orangeleaf was.
I'll be with you in about half an hour and no longer.
Oh, that's excellent. We will see you shortly.
Taffy and Wally went on ahead to see this liner that was stuck in the ice. Captain Bob on the liner was getting worried as it was getting dark.
Doctor, I think you'd better prepare the hospital in case there are any injured people.
Okay, I will prepare everything now, sir.
The snow started to fall heavily. It was getting so thick You could hardly see anything. Mrs. Orangeleaf, Mr. Gold Rover and Elizabeth used their foghorns so they knew where each ship was. Peter the Penguin came across his friend Millie the Penguin. She was playing with some of her friends.
Come on and play with us, Peter.
No thanks, Millie. I'm going to see if I can help the big liner get free from the ice. Do you want to come, Millie?
Yes, please.
Mr. Gold Rover now spotted Mrs. Orangeleaf.
Hello, Mrs. Orangeleaf. What an exciting time it is for you to start your new adventure on the islands.
Yes, it is rather exciting that the two of us will work together to get poor Elizabeth out of the ice. It's so cold here, Mr. Rover. How do you manage?
You will be surprised, my cousin. There's plenty to do here to keep you amused and happy, and you will forget the freezing condition. There are loads of animals who will become your friends.
They devised a plan to try and get Elizabeth the cruise liner out of the ice. Captain Bob, who was the captain of the Elizabeth liner, was getting anxious as he wondered what was going to happen next. Then he looked up into the sky as he heard a loud engine, and there hovering around was Walker the helicopter. His pilot radioed to Captain Bob.
Don't worry, Captain. All will be well. I will see that Mr. Gold Rover and Mrs. Orangeleaf are both in the position to throw your ropes.
The captains of the ships have said to tie the ropes onto the capstan of your ship. Then Mrs. Orangeleaf's crew threw their rope and the same thing happened again.
Come on, cousins, let's show Lizzie the liner how we work together and do a good job.
Yes, let's do that, my cousin. If we have the ropes in the front of our bows, we can both reverse at the same time. What do you think of that?
That's a splendid idea. We will do just that.
I'm so sorry, but there is nothing happening at all. What am I going to do?
Not to worry. We are here to help you.
You see, Captain Bob, you forgot that here in the South Atlantic we have 4 seasons. Spring, summer, autumn and winter, all in one day.
The cold weather comes so drastically, I do hope you and Captain Stephen will be able to set us free.
Come on, let us see if we can loosen the ice with our noses. Come on, Mrs. Gold Rover and Mrs. Orangeleaf. Pull, 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 as hard and as fast as you can.
Captain Stephen, we must now start pulling backwards as the ice has now been loosened.
How do you know this, Captain Trevor?
Oh, we have a few friends who are helping us.
Come on, Mrs. Orangeleaf. Let us show the passengers on the liner that we are very strong ships.
Is the liner moving? The ship has moved a little. Mr. Gold Rover and Mrs. Orangeleaf, pull harder!
All of a sudden, there was a loud crack, and Wally and Taffy came to the surface of the sea.
Come on, Mrs. Gold Rover and Mrs. Orangeleaf. Pull, 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 as hard and as fast as you can. The ice has cracked around the liner, so keep pulling her until she is free of the ice completely.
Start the engines, we are almost free.
He also told Captain Trevor and Captain Stephen that his crew were now freeing the ropes so they could pull them back onto their own ships. All this time, Captain Trevor had been in contact with the garrison commander on the island. So he relayed to Elizabeth the liner and to Mrs. Orangeleaf to both dock on the quayside of the island.
What has happened to Walker, the helicopter?
He has gone to escort Tilly the tornado. She wanted fuel while she was rescuing Elizabeth the liner, so she could not land on me.
All 3 ships docked at the quayside.
Well, what do you think of this new ship then?
Well, she looks all right, I suppose, but I don't know what she's really like until I get to know her.
My mommy says I should never speak to strangers.
Come on, Millie. She's going to be our friend for about 4 months or maybe longer. So how is she a stranger?
I know what you mean, Millie, as my mammy told me the same. And I know for certain that Peter's mammy told him the same, but once we get to know her and find out from her crew what she's like, then she will no longer be a stranger. Don't worry, Millie, we'll always take care of you.
Meanwhile, Mr. Gold Rover was telling Mrs. Orangeleaf all about the islands.
Thank you, Mr. Gold Rover. You have certainly earned your holiday now. I'm sure you could do with a little rest before you sail off now.
Yes, I'll have 40 winks.
Captain Bob thanked the garrison commander for such a warm welcome and said he hoped to see him again soon in the near future, but in happier times.
Mrs. Orangeleaf, could you spare some fuel for our long journey home, please?
Of course it would be my pleasure. I'll use my pipe.
As fuel was going through the pipe, you could hear glug, glug, glug.
That's enough for us. Thank you, Mrs. Orangeleaf. We are very grateful. Goodbye, and we'll see you soon.
Go careful, as nightfall is approaching fast, and keep a watchful eye out for icebergs. Keep watching your radar too.
Elizabeth said goodbye to all her new friends. She said goodbye to the ships and animals on the island.
How wrong I was to think it would be dull down here.
She then thought of all her cousins who were in Portsmouth and different places of the United Kingdom.
I wonder what adventures Mrs. Orangeleaf will go on next. As she was getting older and she was needing various new things on her ship in the future, as they will all wear out in time. So goodbye for now, my happy friends. See you on our next adventure.